Hello, everybody listening to the Fairweather Podcast. It's your boy 2K Suave. I'm joined with Mr. A-Rod, Mr. Alex Rodriguez, and live from PSG, we got Mr. Sammy rocking the flag, got the colors on, got the jersey on. It's a glorious day. It's a glorious day. Uh, what is it? Y'all got to the round of 8 now, some shit like that.
Quarterfinals, baby. Quarterfinals.
The finals. Hey, Rod, we missed you last week. How you doing?
I was on my Joel Embiid moment last week. Felt great.
You know what else happened in Philadelphia? You converted.
It's like going to jail and becoming Islam, right?
But hey, that's what happens in Philly too. He came back with the glasses on, with the Philadelphia Eagles beating, and started preaching the good word. He said, "We."
I'm still, like I said, I heard the podcast this morning, so I had to give it a listen to, and I appreciate the thoughts that I have converted over to everything Eagles. But I gotta die with this team, man. I'm dying with them. But I am, like people say, I'm observing Black History Month. I'm observing Philadelphia Eagle fan base because I got to be there with the woman and my kin over here. So I am kind of like how Alicia Keys, a.k.a. honorary. I am an honorary Eagle. That's what I'm going to say from now on.
Well, I can say from my perspective, it ain't pretty over here anymore. we'll get to NFL free agency, but it ain't as pretty as it was about a week ago. It was all good just a week ago here, Rod. So, anyway, we definitely gonna get to free agency. We're gonna talk about what we got going on, but let's start with some crazy, wacky, funny. We'll start with you, Mr. Sammy.
Yo, you can skip me for now. I don't know what I'm going to say for this crazy, wacky, funny. I mean, I really just wanted to talk about how fucking Paris went into Anfield in Liverpool and got the fucking decision after being down 1-0. After a game, to be honest, after a game last week where we had 27 shots on goal to Liverpool's 2. And everybody was joking like, oh, if you want to see somebody miss a bunch of shots, go watch PSG's highlights. And then we come out this game and finally get a shot on net, tie it up, and then win in PKs. Because, actually, this is probably the funniest part, which is not really that funny, but Darwin Nunez missed this penalty kick.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, whenever you see Darwin Nunez, don't you just expect this to happen every time? It's like, even when you play with him in FIFA, you shoot the shot, just doink every time. Poor guy.
One thing I can say about Liverpool, every time I put money on them this year, they've cost me money. So I learned my lesson about a month or two ago. Like, yeah, y'all just messing up the church's money, bro. Like, I can't with Liverpool. So, when did y'all score that tying goal? Like, what minute was that?
12th minute, and then we held it down for the whole game.
Yeah.
It was tough. I mean, first half we looked really good. And then the second half, Liverpool made really, really good adjustments. But, man, we have some studs. Nuno Mendes came up big against Mo Salah. Hakimi started bad early against Diaz, but then kind of found himself at the end. And, man, Hakimi at the end of that game just looked like he could play another game. Like, us Africans, bro, we could play for all day, bro. And even the commentator was saying, he was like, there goes Hakimi with the ball. He looks like he's just on a different diet than everybody else.
He's probably fast, man. So, yeah, it was wild because watching that game in the second half, Liverpool had so much more possession and opportunity to score, and just watching PSG hold their own against them was great, because that's my second favorite club is PSG. So watching that happen, I'm happy for them, happy for Sammy too. He's a diehard, so I just hate seeing Mo Salah lose. That's the only thing I hate, but gotta go sometime.
I mean, I also, not to harp on it too much, we'll get to it later at the end of the podcast when I have my little vent session. But I mean, if you guys know me, have followed us, especially when we've gotten together on Townie Sports and even on the Fairweather podcast, I've been saying, man, like I want a team in Paris that looks like this. I want a team. I don't want like two guys that are superstars. Everybody said I was crazy when I said we're probably going to be better when Mbappe and Messi leave. And look at we look like we're a better team. Granted, Mbappe's a great player. Nothing against him, but this is what football is. It's a team game. I mean,
Yeah.
KK, you know it. You're a Nigeria fan. Well, you even said it when was it your uncle or whatever? You know what I'm saying? We talk about Nigeria like they don't play as a team, but when you play as a team,
Yep.
you win more games.
It's always
It's
been
11 players.
It's always been my problem. So, yeah, for sure. But no, you're 1,000% right, and that's we'll get to that a little bit later. A-Rod, what you got?
Crazy wacky. The whole carousel with the Aaron Rodgers saga. It's like one moment we're seeing he's going here, and then out of nowhere, yeah, somebody else that you hear is like, oh, him and Devontae Adams are going to be on the same team together. Matthew Stafford stays alone. Then you're hearing him going to Seattle because they end up getting rid of Geno Smith, and lo and behold, you guys, the whole Sam Darnold thing, he's gone now. So, and then like it's just like, where's this guy gonna land up? Just literally still in the door. He's still there, just blue on now. So I don't know. It's just funny to me to watch the whole Aaron Rodgers saga. But he's practicing. That's all he had to do in the beginning to get me to like him, is just fucking practice. So.
Brett Favre over again.
If he goes to Minnesota, because there's talks of it too still, I will piss my pants laughing. So,
we'll like I said, we're gonna get to free agency. My prediction is still Pittsburgh. I think that has to be the place, but we're gonna get to that. And for me, I'm gonna steer away from sports for a second. Southwest Airlines. No more free bags, guys. We have to close the book on free bags on Southwest Airlines. I just thought that was pretty crazy when I saw that headline, because I'm like, is that real? But no, on the real though, I just want to give a shout out to Tiger Woods. I really miss the days in which I wake up on a Sunday morning during the Masters or during like a major tournament and know here comes the Tiger roar, you know what I mean? And we're not gonna get that ever again, probably. He tore his Achilles apparently today. I know like the Masters was coming up, and I was, it's not like I expect him to win, you know what I mean, anymore, but it's still, you still want that chance, like, well, if he's there, maybe he has a chance. So, I wish Tiger Woods a speedy recovery. This shit sucks. To tear Achilles at this age. For you, you two play golf more than I do. How much is an Achilles for Tiger Woods how much is that gonna affect his golf game? Like, do y'all know? Y'all probably know more than I do, because it's a lot of hip action and shit like that. But what do y'all think?
I think it's gonna be pretty important. A lot of golf isn't necessarily in your upper body. Most of it is in your lower body. So, I mean, like you said, it's mostly going to be in the hip back area where it's going to be more important. And he's already had kind of injuries in those areas. But remember, you still have to plant. You got to plant properly. You got to plant strong. And then there's the torque that's involved as well. So, I mean, you're not necessarily pushing off too much on your heels. But again, if you don't have that good base, that good support, it's going to be a struggle.
Well, Tiger, it was all good just a week ago. So I wish you a speedy recovery. All right, let's get to it.
Yep.
Obviously, there's a lot going on in the NBA, the NFL. Spring training is here. We're hockey is getting close to the playoffs. Obviously, we got some important games on in the soccer football world. However, I decided to talk about a topic that, if you guys don't follow us on Instagram, I had this little video, whatever, from Friday. Had a little fun with it, but basically Stephen A. Smith and LeBron James had a little verbal 7-second altercation at the Lakers versus, I think they played the New York Knicks. game. Uh, Talking about, LeBron pulled up on Stephen A. and said, "Stop, stop effing with my son's name and this, that, and the third, and blase, blase." And it's caused a lot of conversation in the sports world. Today, actually, Stephen A. Smith was on Gilbert Arenas podcast, and of course, I had to listen to hear what he had to say. Now that he was a few days removed, and he gave his side. It's starting to re-spin back up again on social media because he said what he said about what LeBron said. He gave like a candid actually of what LeBron said and what his reaction to and all that. But and what I kind of want to get from all of this is my question. I'll start with you, A-Rod. Just what was your opinion on that conversation? I mean, that little verbal spat that they had. Like, what was your observation of that? And then after that, I wanted to kind of talk about like just how sports is covered now in today's society, because I remember growing up. I mean, I loved reading the newspaper. A-Rod, we talk about get off my lawn type of shit. Like, I don't want to say I'm gonna get off my lawn.
Open up your Basketball Digest and read the fucking lineups.
But like, I used to love getting the paper, looking at the stats. I used to love watching inside stuff, and I used to love Stuart Scott, the way the game was cut. I felt like it was a different time. And then nowadays, just the way sports is covered, it feels very toxic to me. So I don't know if I'm just being sensitive about it. But I just want to start off with what your initial reaction and then how everything's unfolded with the Stephen A. Smith LeBron saga regarding Bronny James.
I mean, I really don't know how to take it, to be honest with you. I also think people like to blow things out of proportion. I feel like, Stephen A. is doing his job. He's a media personnel. I think he has utmost respect for LeBron James. He's even come to the point of saying we have to have a conversation now, that because he's always come to Jordan's defense on everything. But what LeBron James has been doing at this age, he's been coming to the notion that, hey, we got to really have this conversation now, that they're on the same wavelength. But his son, he's an adult taxpaying. Like, he's fair game to talk about. And it'd be something if Stephen A. was like, he's a bum, he's this, that, and the third, and poking fun at him and like that. But it's just, I guess I haven't really paid too much attention closely of what Stephen A. must have said to him. But it has to be something to the point that must have gotten under LeBron's skin for him to approach him, obviously, at a Knicks game.
I can tell you.
Go ahead.
So it was when, so a couple months ago, Stephen A. Smith was on First Take, and obviously he talks about it all the time. We have the #1 sports show, and every #1 for 13 years. So obviously we know a lot of people watch First Take, right? Whether you watch it live or you watch clips, you're gonna find a First Take clip every day somehow on your feed. And when it deals with Bronny and LeBron James, it's going to be something that's going to be viral. Just their name alone is going to cause it to be viral. So basically, this was January. Yeah, this is January. Bless you. This was in January. It was the day after Bronny got a little bit more extensive minutes. There's a lot of injuries in the lineup and everything like that. And Tyrese Maxey took him to the woodshed and just cooked him for however many minutes that Bronny was out there. And on that episode of First Take, Stephen A. Smith said, as a father, you need to stop this, LeBron. And basically was calling out LeBron as a father for allowing Bronny James to be put into this situation where he's, going to be ridiculed like that. And he alluded to Bron in 2023 tweeting, 2023 tweeting, my son is better than a lot of these players in the NBA. He alluded to Bron, allowing, making sure that Bronny ended up with the Lakers with the 50 picks. So a lot of that is kind of where Bron took offense to that specific statement, where as a father, I'm begging you to stop. That's what Steve. That's kind of, because it was confirmed on Saturday when they played against Boston. He told that to Richard Jefferson, like, they like to cover their mouth when they speak. This time they didn't cover their mouth when they speak, and they picked up on all the audio and all the deliberating. It was like he said, as a father, I'm begging you to stop. So now I'll give it back to you, A-Rod. So basically, Stephen A. Smith said he wasn't calling out Bronny, he was calling out LeBron. And I'm sure LeBron took offense to him being questioned as a father. I think that's kind of what it came down to.
Like I said, he's a grown tax-paying citizen. He's a professional. That's like me getting a job in finance, and I'm working under the controller, but I'm like number 2, and I'm given a lot of work. The controller has a lot of work that he's got to do, but I'm given a lot of work. And somebody saying, you can't be given that much work because, this is what you signed up for. This is what the son signed up for. It does suck that his father is LeBron James, and he does cast a big shadow. But at the end of the day, he's a professional and an adult. And I think for Stephen A. to tell a man how he should raise his kids, I think that's not for him to say. I think LeBron should do what he wants to do, and I think LeBron can say what he wants. So I think Stephen A. should just bow down and take his L and say, I'm sorry, LeBron. That's not how I meant it to be, but I won't talk about your son. Take your L and go.
So, okay. So you think who is in the wrong? Was it LeBron yelling at Stephen A. Smith or Stephen A. Smith talking about the man's son? Like, who's in the wrong?
Two adults, man. It's going to get caught on TV. How many times do we talk with each other, or like your boy, and you just get heated in the moment and shit? It's a normal conversation. There's nobody in the wrong there. It's people seeing that and be like, oh my God, angry black man alert, type of thing. Fuck that shit, man. I want to hear. Nobody was in the wrong for the way they're coming on. Stephen A. looking like a fucking martyr out there, like, I was caught off guard. I didn't know LeBron James was going to approach me, and he has the right to. Like, fuck out of here, Stephen A. with your forehead.
Sammy, what you got?
In typical soft LeBron fashion, he takes.
LeBron. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Bro, when it comes to criticism, Stephen A. has every right, because exactly as A-Rod said, Bronny is now a grown-ass man, tax-paying citizen in the NBA. He is going to get under scrutiny, right? We have said this, and I'm sure we've said it on this podcast. I've heard many other podcasts say it. I've talked about it at the barbershop. We've talked about it over coffee, over a couple beers. Bronny James is in the NBA at this age because of his dad. Stephen A. is saying what everybody's thought. And yes, okay, he's going to have to be the martyr, right? Because he's going to have to go down with the ship, even though everybody's already thought it. So the fact that he wasn't even coming at it, because if you read the quote, I'm pleading with LeBron James as a father, stop this. We all know that Bronny James is in the NBA because of his dad. How are you doing him any favors? We know that he's not ready yet. And I'm saying this with compassion. You know what these numbers mean. I don't see anything wrong with that. And he says, you got all these people busting their tail on other NBA teams in G League in Europe and everywhere else. What kind of opportunity are they starting for? You're exposing your son like this? I think it's a fair conversation and a fair question. And he even gave credit. He says, I love what we're seeing from him in the G League, because that's where you belong. You hone your skills and you get better and you legitimately earn your spot, which he has the potential to do. He's just not ready. He didn't show me anything in college. We all watch a lot of college, right? We watched a lot last year. We did a lot of discussions about last year. Very unimpressive. He might have been the fourth best player on that USC team. Let's all be real here. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with what Stephen A. said, and I think it's just LeBron James overreacting, which, again, he has every right because that's his son. But when it comes to the business, when it comes to the NBA, sometimes you got to give your son, your kid, that hard pill to swallow. You got to go hone your skills, little man.
All right. So in that moment, when LeBron, so basically LeBron's reaction to Stephen A. Smith, that was too much, correct? Is that what you're saying? What about Stephen A's reaction to everything after the fact? How do you like? He's been on his little press tour, and like, do you have an opinion on any of that?
I mean, I just feel he has every right to defend himself. And I'm one of the people, to be honest, there's a lot, and I'm from Boston, right? I mean, you're talking about how, because I guess I'll get to the other part after you ask the other question about, media and the, but I'm from Boston.
Yeah.
Dude, this has been Boston media since 2000s, the 90s. If you're bad, you're being on the, you're getting put on the front page of the Boston Herald and you're getting smoked. You know what I mean? But the world now is seeing it from a different angle. And I hate a lot of these sports media personalities. Stephen A is one of the very few people that I have a lot of respect for, because a lot of his takes, especially when it comes to the NBA, I like. There's people that say stuff out of the side of their mouth and I'm like, you are completely stupid. Like, what's his name from Fox, dude? He is just absolutely, I can't stand him, and I never tune into him. You know who I'm talking about. Nick, what's his face?
Nick, right?
God, dude. Just absolutely terrible. But I don't know, man. That's how I view it. Stephen has every right to defend himself. I mean, if he wants to go down with the ship and apologize and stuff, good for him. He should, because you gotta. Yeah, exactly. No, I know Stephen A is not going to do that, but he has every right to do it. I agree. Like he's a grown adult. I mean, and to be honest, I'll give credit to LeBron. You're defending your son. Hell yeah, that's a good dad. That's what you're supposed to do. But I hope under closed doors, LeBron comes to his senses, because I know how my father would be. I'm sure you guys, know how your dad's going to defend you. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, no, get the hell. You can't talk like that about my son. But at the end of the day, sometimes if you have a good father, they'll be like, hey, you need to work on your game a little bit.
My dad be like, that boy cooked. That boy's cooked, man.
All right. I was going, I'm going to keep it a bean. All right. And this is as a LeBron fan. Did he kind of overreact in that exact moment? Yeah, he overreacted. Of course he did. I mean, but I don't have any kids. And I've heard the people who have talked about this. It's like the people who have kids and the people who don't have kids seem to be on different, kind of like a little bit of a different spectrum here. And Stephen A said it himself during the first take and his podcast and on Arenas today. He said that wasn't a basketball player that came in that approached me. That was a father who approached me. And he understood it from a father's perspective. Now, I can go back and look at a lot of instances where parents of NBA players have attacked Stephen A. Smith and other media personalities the same exact way. Kevin Durant's mom did it. Draymond Green's mom did it. Allen Iverson's mom did it. Like, this happens way more than we talk about. But because LeBron did it, obviously, an active NBA player who is LeBron James, one of the most polarizing figures in sports ever, right? Obviously, it's going to carry a little different a little different weight, right? How he did it on a nationally televised game, I get it. That was probably a little too much. But he's not the first parent or the last parent who's going to defend their NBA son who's being dragged through the media. And my problem that I have with the coverage of Bronny James is that he became a low-hanging fruit for the media to talk about, because he's the 55th pick of the NBA draft. Can you tell me who is Anton Watson, Sammy? You know who he is? Do you know who Anton Watson is, Sammy? The Boston Celtics drafted him 54th. Do you know what the hell he's doing this year? Absolutely not. Does anybody care? No. Let's go to the first round. Zachary Richardson, Alex Sarr, Reed Shepard. Like, nobody talks about how shitty they doing, but nobody cares. But we don't talk about how the 55th pick is doing in NBA game. Like, and the problem is when he plays bad, everybody is so happy and quick to talk about how poorly he's playing, right? But when he's playing well in the G League, not a peep. Not a peep from Stephen A. Smith, not a peep from all the other talking.
Because that's where he belongs.
Okay, when he plays bad in the G League, he had his first G League game. He didn't play that well, and they were so quick to report on him. Then he goes on a month and a half ring. He's averaging 23 points a game in the G League, and the only people who talk about it are Gilbert Arenas and Josiah Johnson, and then a couple pages here and there you see on Instagram. But God forbid he has a bad game, the whole world has something to say. Nepotism, Nepo baby, this shit, that shit, this shit. As if he's the first player in the NBA that got an NBA contract for being the son of an NBA player. Kobe Carl, George Carl's son, got a contract. J.R. Smith's brother got a contract. The Nastas and all of them got contracts. Like this happens so much in the NBA, but because it happens with LeBron, everybody's got something negative to say. I'm not saying don't talk about Bronny's bad. Don't talk about his game. Talk about his game in the context of his game. But my problem is that when Bronny has a bad game, mind you, we're talking about garbage time minutes at the end of a fourth quarter. We're acting like Bronny's playing 35 minutes a game, and we can talk about a whole game that he's played bad. He gets in with 3 minutes to go, and everybody. Do you know how many people at the end of the bench get in it with 3 minutes to go? Do we give a shit about them? Do we talk about them? No, we don't give two shits about what a garbage time player does in garbage time minutes. Bronny gets in the game. Oh, he's not a pro. Oh, he's a Nepo baby. Oh, this, that, and the third. Like to me, everybody was so quick to want to, because it's LeBron's son. Because people have Stephen A. Smith does not like LeBron James. Okay, so anytime that it's easy for Stephen A. Smith to go at LeBron because it's Bronny James, but the amount of other players who are doing the same numbers, the same shit as Bronny James, they don't get any criticism. So yeah, as a father, of course I'm gonna be like, yo, watch how you talk about my son.
Alex Sarr is averaging 12 points a game, right?
He's the number 2 pick.
Okay, but he played 3 pro years. Bronny James played 1 year in college and said, okay, I'm ready for the NBA, and then gets drafted by the team that his dad is on. Like, why are they not?
Oh my God. Anton Watson. Who the fuck is Anton Watson?
He played 5 years at Gonzaga. What else was he supposed to do?
Why did he get drafted? He ain't doing shit.
He played 5 years in college.
Tristan Newton, Harrison Ingram, Antonio Reeves. Do you know any of these people?
How many years of college did they all play? Are they all 19 years old and get drafted by the Los Angeles Lakers?
Every single one of those players all have the same contract that Bronny James has. Bronny James is not the only person to get a contract. He's not the only person to get drafted because of his name. And who gives a shit about the 55th pick? It's the 55th pick. Nobody's ever talked about the 55th pick.
Do you think he should have got drafted? Do you think he should have got drafted?
I don't give a fuck about the 55th pick.
Do you think he should have got drafted? If his name wasn't Bronny James, if his name was John Smith from USC, he played 1 year, averaged 6 points a game. Do you think he should have got drafted?
You know how many people? All right, how many points? How many points?
It's a yes or no question.
College. Go look up how many he averaged in college. Go look it up.
6 points.
We act like he's the first person to average 6 points in college to get drafted. Like he's not. Like this happens all the time. It's the end of the draft. He got drafted. Yes, he got drafted because of his name. But think about it. Even if he didn't get drafted, who would have given a shit? He would have still got the same contract. He would have still played for the Lakers, and nobody would have given a damn. Like we're so quick to be so like all up in like just in our feelings about some shit that doesn't even matter. He's the 55th pick. Nobody has ever given a shit about the 55th pick in the history of NBA history. Period. 55. Like those are players that go to Greece. They go to Puerto Rico.
Why isn't Bronny going to Greece?
Why isn't Kevin McCullough Jr. going to Greece? No, he's playing in the G League.
He might.
He started in the G League. Quentin Post was the 52nd pick by the Warriors. He started in the G League, started getting big in the NBA game. Like Gilbert Arenas was a 2nd round pick. He started on the bench.
Quentin Post is a 7-footer.
We're talking about a McDonald's All-American player. We're not talking about somebody who was 5'3" and was just happy to be there. Like Bronny James is a McDonald's All-American player.
He's my height.
He's 6'1".
That's what I'm saying. Like,
How many? You see, that's the problem I'm having. Everyone is so quick to talk about a play like Bronny James is a you know why he's a good prospect? Because he's fast. He jumps higher. He's athletic. Jumps higher than most of the people in the NBA right now. He's a good defender, and his jump shot is good. That's why he got drafted. Just because in 2 minutes of garbage time you can't see that doesn't like the amount of like Jokic got drafted during a Taco Bell commercial. Nobody knew shit about Jokic, but guess what? He worked on his game, and he's now probably going to win his fourth MVP. Gilbert Arenas, second round pick. He's one of the best point guards of our era. Like this shit happens all the time, but we're so fixated on this is Bronny James because it's LeBron James' son. Oh, Nepo baby.
But you said it happens all the time, but then you said who cares about the 55th pick? What I don't know what it is.
Because they weren't talking about, oh my God, why did they draft Jokic with the 40 whatever pick? Nobody said a word. Oh, these Europeans. Oh, no, like nobody cares what is anybody else. But LeBron. Oh my God, how dare you?
It's LeBron's son, but it's an organization's job. If that's what they want to do, so be it. So be it. Hell, if the Warriors would have said, we're going to take his son and gamble on the athletic ability that we have and the way that we coach our talent and make good players out of them, then the Warriors could have took him. But I guarantee you, like, because it's LeBron, everybody honored that. It's his last year in the league, and teams are like, we're not really knocking on the door for Bronny James. We see more out of this guy. We'll get him. Just let it be, man. It's the GOAT. He wants to play with his son. Let him do it. You know, could be worse. Michael Jordan's kids are out there snorting ketamine and shit like that. So
about them on ESPN. And that's what I'm saying too, because and not to put a huge parallel to it. I mean, I watch a lot of soccer. I love Diego Maradona. I love Zinedine Zidane. Both of their kids were in, the academies of those relative teams, Real Madrid and Lazio. They didn't make it because of their parents, because their parents said, you guys here, I can't push you there. I can't push you past this point. You have to earn your spot. And I think that's what most people want. They want him to earn that spot. Yes, you got a little advantage because you're Bronny James.
What spot has he? He hasn't. He's not a starter. He doesn't average any minutes in the NBA.
He was on the. Why was he on the starting roster?
He was never a starter.
I'm not saying a starter, but he was on the starting season roster.
Go look at everybody's starting roster that started the NBA season and tell me how many all more than 35% of those players are all full-time G League players. We're literally focusing so heavily on one player when there's way more players who you question. This kid, he's never played organized basketball in his life, but he has long arms and long legs. Let's go get him out of Africa. That's what they do. It's called prospect drafting. You draft.
That's what France does for soccer.
You draft off the prospect of what they can possibly do. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. That's just how it is. That's how it's always been. He's a prospect. He's not a starter.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I think you make very good points. However, I do think you're biased, as am I. And I think the truth lies somewhere between you and I.
There's no truth, to me, it's just, and let's get to the next subject. The coverage of sports today, right? It's like with 20 years ago, right? Let's paint the picture. 20 years ago, where in 2005, Sam, in your perspective in sports 20 years ago, 2005, right? What did the world kind of look like from a sports perspective? Like how was everything covered? Like what did you look forward to watching coverage wise, and how did you consume your sports media 20 years ago?
Probably like ESPN. Probably when Bleacher Report was kind of new, right? They were just a website. There was no videos or anything. It was just like articles, and I found them, and I'm like, oh wow, they have some cool, different coverage than what I'm seeing on SportsCenter or NFL Primetime or NBA Today or whatever. So that's really where I got most of my coverage. And obviously, because I'm a Boston fan, I listen to a lot of Boston sports radio and their content there. But yeah, that was mine. But like to your point, it wasn't Instagram, it wasn't Facebook, it wasn't that type of stuff. It was articles. I was reading.
Hey, Rob, how did you consume sports 20 years ago?
20 years ago, so I'm 37, 17-year-old me. I went to the grocery store and I went to the magazine aisle and I was reading everything on the back of those Slam magazines all the time. Slam, Basketball Digest, Sports Illustrated. What was the other one that was there? That was another one that was really dope. I used to read.
It was that draft one too, the NFL draft book. Every year, that was dope.
Yeah, it was mostly there was no social media like we have now. There was nothing. You had to get a magazine and read it and collect cards and read about player stats that way. Because I remember you'd have dial up and if you went to like NBA.com to look and see shit, it'd be like, for a while, staticky. But yeah, that's how we ingested information. And then when TV was around, the TV shows we had, like Rest in Peace, Around the Horn. Around the Horn was the most like fun we used to have watching that. I love that. Watching Kalishaw and what was the dude from Denver that was always had the funny sign in the back? Woody Page. Woody Page. He was the best, man. Rest in peace. I mean that was the first interactive type of social media-esque journalism that we had. And it was fun, and it was pairing off with things, which was cool.
And at the time, it was what?
It was cool. It was fun, yeah. And now we just get there and we listen to one man have his opinion, and we have to believe that that's word. And I don't like that. Yeah, you may have relationships with a lot of these players where they respect you and will give you their time, that they will talk about things to you. But just because you were that doesn't mean, and I'm not taking a jab at anybody in particular, just because that doesn't make it like what we need to believe. So I miss the days of it being fun. I miss the days of good journalists like a Steven or a Stuart Scott that would come out there and make it fun for you to be involved with it. I would always listen to him doing the baseball and see ya, it's gone, not coming back. Like that was just good for me to listen to. But now you have very few guys that are like that now. Scott Van Pelt, he's definitely got it. Rich Eisen, I love Rich Eisen. He was one of the original ones on ESPN. It's just not. And social media has just trumped everything now. You see something, how many times a day do we send each other shit because we see it on social media and we just want to laugh about it? But is it really good journalism or anything? No, it's not. There is two crazy that these happen at the same time. HBO, and I told Sammy this yesterday. I watched the first 2 episodes on Boston. It's called Boston City, and about how the Celtics came about, the culture that they employed. And we're only in the first half. We're talking about Kuzi and how he was the greatest player ever. And then in came Bill Russell, who everyone was like, that big, is here. But they learned to love him. And still, even all the shit that he did, they still crown Kuzi as the best player on that team. But without Bill Russell, you wouldn't have those championships. But anyways, I'm getting at, it's very good journalism in there that you have. You have what's the guy? He used to be on Around the Horn all the time too. Boston, worked for the Boston Globe.
Shaughnessy.
Yeah, him, and there's another one too. Older dude, white dude. Can't think of his name. Anyways, I see him all the time. I can see the face. But he's on there. They're talking very, very good, solid points about everything about the Boston culture and the players and the coaching and everything that it does for it. And there's also one on Kobe Bryant that came out. It's a 3-part series on Kobe, which is really, really good. And they get good people in there, good journalists who know about him. They even get the defense attorney that was for the rape charge on it. And they got his the guy from the Lakers, the athletic trainer. That dude cool as shit. They got him on there. They got a lot of cool people on there that are creditable. Not some guys like, yeah, we used to hang in the block. I don't want to hear that fucking dude talk. I don't give a fuck what you did on the block. I want to hear like some good shit. about what you guys did. A cool story about Kobe that journalist or somebody of credibility, I'll listen to what Andrew Bynum has to say because he played with him. Maybe I'll listen to Kwame Brown's weird ass say something, but journalism now, it's goofy as fuck. It really is. Everyone thinks they're a journalist now. It's sad.
It's sad, like fast forward, like how basically. So, do you feel like it was more fun to consume sports back in the day as comparison to now, and what makes it not as fun as it used to be?
Yeah, I mean, a reason why I, wanted to do this on the side, obviously I have a full-time job, but why I wanted to do this was because I was sick of what I saw content becoming. Now I understand the one point about, having an opinion, having a vocal opinion, and drawing attention. But I think there needs to be a balance. What happened?
Bob Ryan, that was the guy.
Bob Ryan, yeah. But I think there needs to be a balance, right? I think when you have content, you have to, yes, have your maybe one or two opinions, but kind of like what we do here, we bring facts, we bring stats, we bring comparisons to the picture. We try to make it fun, right? We try to make it educational for the average listener. And like you said it perfectly, it was fun. Like I loved turning on, like A-Rod said, Around the Horn. I mean, I still listen to PTI because I think that's still one of they still keep it strong. You know what I mean? Like it's still fun. Like, yes, they'll say things that are, yes, they'll say things that like maybe is a slight opinion of theirs, but it's not so extreme where it makes you angry. I listen to these other, First Take.
Well-respected media people too.
Right.
They are both very well respected for being as old as they are. And what they've covered in the eras, they are very well respected.
And where do they come from? The Washington Post journalists.
Right. And I implore both of you guys. I know you guys probably make fun of me or think crazy about it, but if you guys like ball, like I really think you should listen to when Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo get together on their podcast. No, I'm serious. Like it's not like
Bill Simmons. Like Bill Simmons is the creator of this Boston City thing, and it's very good. Very good.
But I mean, and I'm not just, I said it this way on purpose, KK. I said, and Ryan Russillo. Right. I think when they're together and they talk NBA every Sunday, it's journalism, dude. Like it's really, really good stuff. And even all the people on The Ringer, I have so much respect for all those journalists on The Ringer. I can't get behind this clickbait content, of people wanting to like make you angry and have you talk about it, because that's what it's become. A lot of the content that I start to follow now and that I consume, a lot of it is interesting stuff. Like I want to know some of this stuff outside of what makes this person the way they are, because I think that's what we need as a society. Is this person is struggling, why? Instead of this guy freaking sucks, get him off the freaking team. Again, like I mentioned earlier and I alluded to, I'm from Boston. That's the entire Boston journalism. I listen to these guys, Felger and Maz. I do it for a laugh because the people that call in are hilarious. So that's what I do it for. Sit that doll back down. He sucks. But like, I listen to that and I'm like, this is why people hate Boston. This is why people don't want to come play in Boston. Because if you have a game like Jason Tatum and you score 15 points and get 7 boards, even though you may have done everything else right on the court, you didn't score 30. You suck. You're not good enough. You know what I mean? And again, I have my outrageous takes, but that's mostly because I get emotional about my teams. And that's why we're on the Fair Weather podcast, right? Because when we have to vent our annoyances about our teams, this is the place to do it. And like I did about the Miami Heat series last year, I think of that forever, right? Yeah, I ate crow on that, but I was hard on them. And then they adjusted, they got better. But again, sorry to harp on anything, but I do miss when journalism was good quality, when content was good, and I hate the fact that First Take is the #1 sports show. I mean, and to say it, I mean, the NBA guys on TNT, dude, I'll watch them. I'll be up till 1 a.m. after games listening to them. They're fun, dude. They're so fun. Even when somebody's struggling, they talk about it. They talk about the team. They talk about how can you make that player better? Why is he struggling? What is he doing wrong? Not just, oh, he sucks and he's in the limelight, this and that. It's old, dude. It's getting real old.
And to kind of speak on the NBA TNT guys, I used to love to stay up till 1 in the morning all the time because I feel like they used to give more analysis. Now it's just Charles Barkley, just old and grumpy. Shaq is just kind of old and like to me, Kenny the Jet Smith, he still is. He's a point guard. You know what I mean? Like point guards just think different, think basketball differently. I think Chuck is just, Chuck is Chuck.
Ernie's
Shaq
the
is,
man.
and Ernie's he's different. Like I wish there was more Ernie's, more Scott Van Pelt's, more. I mean, I like listening to Dan Patrick. Like how I like to consume sports. I remember being a kid, like I mentioned, it's just like really just getting excited to like hear about XYZ game or play or this or that and how they break it down, right? Now I when I watch these things and I read these things and I see these things, I have to like do like an over under with myself. Like, how many times am I gonna roll my eyes in the next 30 minutes? And that's not fun anymore. It's like I used to like really like look forward to like this and this and this. And it's just more like, how are they gonna piss me off today?
Another
it's like
another thing to take in consideration is what competition really does ESPN have as far as getting your local or your 24-hour sports shit. Like if we want news, we got news. But the only competition they really have is like apps, like Bleacher Report. You can go on there, and it's just some Joe Schmo. No offense to us, we're great at what we do, by the way. Y'all both are amazing. I'm good at this, and it's just some kid talking about PSG, this, that, and that, and that, and it's off his opinion. Which, in my opinion, I think it's a little bit better because he's an avid fan about it and he's talking about it. But as opposed to these guys that just make you believe that, oh, this is what it is and this is God, and you have to listen.
It's fact.
I've talked to LeBron James. He sat me down. We had a conversation, and I understand. Like, I don't give a fuck, Stephen A. Smith. Fuck out of here with that.
But I think ESPN is also dying to some of these apps and some of these other content areas because of the fact that, it's not journalism anymore.
They were.
You know what I mean?
They were. And then now they've become these apps. It's like, I love Pat McAfee. I think he's a cool guy. But think about it. That is what we have at noon. We have Pat McAfee. You have, all these variations of that because that's what people want to see on their phone. You know what I mean?
Well, Pat McAfee is a response to Barstool. That's ESPN's response to Barstool. Let's be real, right?
And the thing is that
wait till Barstool does the next thing.
And it's just, I don't know. I just want it. It's not like it's going to change. It's just a matter of I wish that people would be less lazy to go find it's like, can you, like, I don't know who listens to Fox News. I don't care. But imagine Fox News is the only news that you got. That's all you know, and you're going to take everything you heard on Fox News as fact. Same thing with ESPN. If all you hear every day from 10 to 12 is whatever Stephen A. Smith says, you just have to assume that that's fact. And that's just the way it works. Like, I feel like because of, we've gotten lazier of just in general life, just generationally, we've gotten lazier on how we want to consume things. We don't really go the extra mile with the extra step to really just do research and look this up and figure this out and everything like that. And that's why when I was a kid, I was curious. I would read these newspapers. I wanted to hear this radio guy, that radio guy. I wanted to do my own research. And I don't know. I feel like now it's just.
It's like me with the beat writers, man. It's like everybody. What's the dude that gives the alert on ESPN all the time?
Schefter.
Yeah. Everyone's like, just wait for it's a Schefter bomb. I read what the beat writers wrong. We just got this guy in through the door, and then I'm told that so and so just walked through the door. I'm like, man, I knew that shit like at least 2 days ago that was happening. That these guys know that. That's why I always read what the beat writers have to say because they're plugged into those teams and they're actual journalists. I respect Schefter for what he does and Shams for what he does because they have those relationships and all they know what to do is to leak the crazy.
That's their job. That's basically, ESPN is paying you this amount of money to do this job. So they got to do what they do. So you can't blame them for that. I think for me, I think
that that's God by that. Like they don't think that teams have an actual beat writer that works on the staff.
who they get information from? They're probably getting it from the beat writer or the GM or somebody from the team, right? Everyone's getting information from the same people. It's just a matter of the problem with the Shams and the Schefters is that they want to be first to report everything. So that's because we're lazy. We want to see like, okay, what is? I follow Adam Schefter on ESPN. I get Adam Schefter updates from ESPN on my phone. 1 second earlier, I saw Milton Williams was a Panther, and then 5 minutes later, he's a Patriot. I don't know. Like it's like that's the shit that just happens. You got to just, you got to take it as law. It is what it is. But I think for me, my other thing is that I don't mind like criticizing players' game on the court, but when we start talking about that person, like I was listening to something about like Kendrick Perkins, right? And he has not voted for Jokic for MVP in like the last 5 years. And I'm like, these people have votes for stuff that are very sacred to us. Like MVP, it may not be important to other people, but like I care. I do care. Like, damn.
Oh no. Oh no, it's happening. It's happening. What's going on?
What's going on in KK's world?
ESPN cut us off. They heard him.
Like we were talking about. So I guess the other thing that I wanted to mention too, I wish KK was here to listen to it, but it kind of goes along with the MVP conversation because Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo were talking about something that we've talked about probably for the last 3 weeks now, was about how not enough people are talking about, there he is, how not enough people are talking about Shea. And the mainstream media is not, it was all about the Luka, it was all about this, and no disrespect, it's all about the Lakers and this. And it's like, can we start discussing what Shea is accomplishing this year? Right? Sorry, KK, I was just kind of piggybacking on what you were talking about.
I got kicked out by Skype. They said I was
ESPN kicked you out.
ESPN, they were like, all right, we're going to chill out, bro. You ain't going to talk about Stephen A. Smith on this podcast.
There's a sniper on the grassy knoll right now.
But nah, it's like, I don't know, it's just, but yeah, you were just saying, I mean, all right, well, I've been on my soapbox. Now I want to come back down to earth.
No, I was piggybacking because I was talking about how, we've discussed it probably for at least a month now. And because you talked about MVP and how certain people have votes and stuff like that. And then obviously the media pushes a certain agenda, right? So that can sway the votes a lot of these MVP votes. And I was mentioning here how, I was listening to, every Sunday, Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo, and they were discussing, they were like, they were going the other way. They were like, we need to talk about Shea. We have to talk about what he's accomplishing as an NBA player, as a guard, the things that he does on the court, the stats that he's achieving, what this team itself is achieving, and because it's not happening in mainstream media at all.
Yeah.
He gets highlights, right? Then they show a stat, and then they move on to the next thing.
It's clickbait media. That's just, I mean, it's just the word of the day is viral and trending. That's just, you got to just ride that wave. Unfortunately, that's just what it is. But yes, I miss the old days. That's all. Don't get off my lawn, but stay on the lawn. It's cool, but
I think it's a healthy conversation to have. So I feel like it's good that we discussed that because I feel like it's a topic that doesn't really get brought up a lot. Because once again, how many times do we send each other stupid clips throughout the day of bullshit journalism of just like 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're like, we it's God in the moment, and then probably they're like, oh, it's probably stupid that I sent that. It is what it is. But that's the mentality now that we have. We see something and it's 3 seconds. The human mind processes the information and decides to keep it.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Stay on my lawn, but clean up your dog shit.
I like that.
We'll leave it right there. We'll leave this conversation right there because that's exactly what it is. All right. We got to get to NFL free agency. I don't know the exact number of dollars that was spent, but day 1 and day 2, a lot of shit. Now, I just want to let y'all know, again, like I said a little bit earlier, from a Philadelphia Eagles perspective, shit ain't rosy over here, bro. Like you know, A-Rod, you Mr. Beat Writer, right? I because of you, I've tapped in a lot more into the beat writers and a lot more into our local radios and all that shit. It is not pretty right now. Everybody is mad, dog. Everybody is mad in Philadelphia. You have a personal connection in Philadelphia, so I'm not sure what she's hearing, but I'll let you know what I'm hearing. It's bad, dog. It's C.J. Gardner Johnson and Darius Slay were beefing right after the Super Bowl. Now they both gone. Milton Williams to the Patriots. To me, that was the best signing of all the first couple of days of free agency. I'm telling you right now, Sandy, Milton Williams will be a perennial Pro Bowler for y'all. He is that good. Quarterbacks have been on the move. Wide receivers, we talked about last week, who's going to end up where. A lot of them are on the move right now. So a lot to get to but let's try to find a way to keep this right here. We're not talking about every single move, right? A-Rod, do you have like an inkling of some of the biggest moves that were made? Because I know you'd be following a lot of this shit. You probably have it written down somewhere.
What, today or yesterday, or based off of what you guys talked about last podcast?
All right, in general, just some of the biggest moves that what have you seen? What do you think are some of the most significant moves from your opinion?
Wait, before you get to that, isn't technically free agencies tomorrow, right?
So non-legal tampering has
right.
Yes.
Right. Okay. No, but the official signings won't happen till tomorrow. Am I right?
Correct.
Okay.
Legally.
So as the day we're recording, just for everybody listening, as the day we're recording this, it's all just tampering. So there could be signings that happen Wednesday that are official. Yeah.
Remember the one time that DeAndre Jordan was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sign with the Mavericks," and da. The Clippers sent the plane. They said, "You are not going to that team. You come back here now." So yeah, these things do happen, but allegedly the signings that we expect to happen by the time this podcast airs. What do you? I have a list of like a top 150 that the Athletic posted. I got some other stuff that give out grades and stuff, but I want to know from your personal, what hits you the hardest, A-Rod? You're like, oh shit, I can't believe that happened.
I mean, the biggest one has to be the saga of Myles Garrett. That has to be the biggest one. That man what has he accomplished? I mean, he's accomplished everything he needs to accomplish except winning. And they can't put together. I don't know how. I don't know how that guy has won Coach of the Year twice. I really don't. Couldn't tell you how. But I guarantee you part of it is because Myles Garrett is there. And made it to the point, I'm leaving. I'm out of here. I'm gone.
We're on a press tour.
All that. And I was watching the beat writers too. They were saying that he's not picking up phone calls. Everyone's trying to go to him. And once again, in Brown's fashion, wheel in the Brinks truck to keep this man. And I think I listened to the podcast last week, because I always do when I'm driving around. I always listen to us just to give myself some constructive criticism on me, on you guys, on us as a whole. I like to listen. But Sammy made a very a weird, at first I was like, this makes no sense. But then I was like, it completely does. Like, do you move on from a Myles Garrett and just like, it is what it is, man, and go on? Like, I think at this point, the Browns have to learn, fuck, it ain't working. We're not winning with this guy, and we're going to have to pay him a lot of money to keep him. Do we just let him fulfill his destiny and win a Super Bowl? Another team have to see him, and we just build off of that, because they're going to get a lot of return back for him. But that wasn't it. They want to keep him and make him a lifer. Some of these, Cleveland is a blue-collar city. We whatever they do, coal or whatever they do out there, like we do this, So this is the kind of people you want the coal. Coal? I ain't never seen a lot of coal. So that's just what they did. And the only person that could talk to Myles Garrett Camp was his agent, the chick. That girl is getting things done, man. That lady's getting things done.
let me just break down this not highest non-paid QB in NFL history, by the way. So it's a 4-year extension. $40 million a year basically is what the average per year is. He has a no trade clause. The total value of the deal is $204,796,000 cash. His first 3 years cash that he'll be getting $100 million. He gets a $1 million annual workout bonus. Like he needs, you don't think he gonna work out? Of course he gonna work out. Look at him. He gets $88 million execution guarantees. I don't know what that means. And total guarantees is $122,796,000. So, long story short, damn, we said damn a couple years ago with Deshaun Watson. Him coming off of what he came off of was a lot of the reason for that damn, right? This damn right here, Sammy. So we talked about this shit last week. We thought, oh, I mean, I guess it's probably, yeah, maybe, right? But what do you think is going through the minds of Cleveland Browns executives? Like, you think this is, because it's not like he's a quarterback who's going to sell tickets. You know, you might see one sack a game. Like, like I love all of our defensive players, right? But I want to go watch Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. So what do you think is going through the mind of a Cleveland Browns executive, Sammy?
I remember you asked me this question last week, and I was kind of like, I stalled, right? Because I wasn't sure how to answer it, and I answered it kind of more metaphorical. I said, if I'm the Browns, I would consider moving on. You know, but did I think he was going to leave? I was leaning more towards no, but I said it'd be smarter to do it. Yeah. But as far as what the executives think, I think it's not a bad choice if you do things the right way. And we talked about this a lot last week, right? We were like, you know, it's all on what these GMs are doing, what their plan is, and what their goal is, right? You know, and to be honest, and we've learned when it comes to the playoffs, granted, you have to make it there first. But when it comes to the playoffs, if you have a defense, especially centered around Myles Garrett, you're going to have a lot of success, right? Because that's when defenses ramp up. Now, again, he can't be the sole reason for anything on that team, right? We know, like, that one defender can't do everything. He could be a game changer. We can talk about, you know, players like Ndamukong Suh back in the day, this and that absolute game changers, game wreckers, but he couldn't do it all alone, right? He couldn't do it all alone. So again, it's going to be up to the GMs to surround that team with more talent, to probably punt on that offense. I don't know how you do it, to be honest. I don't know how you do it with that contract that you're under. But again, like, this is going to be a situation where they probably, in my opinion, I think it was a bad choice. They should have moved on. They should have gotten a return for it. They should have started over, said, okay, this didn't work the way we wanted to. That window has now closed. Let's go and dust off another window. Let's go start fresh. You know what I mean? And maybe they're just cursed. I mean, how many quarterbacks now are we looking at with the Cleveland Browns over the last decade?
I mean, it's literally 1.5 a year, basically.
Wasn't it like the one Browns fan who has the jersey with like how many different names on the back of it?
The Eagles just traded for Dorian Thompson, whatever his name is. Like, and they got Kenny Pickett now. And to me, now that just guarantees, look, we're probably going to be drafting, a quarterback, just so y'all know. So it looks like, what do they got? The second pick sounds like a Cam Ward spot to me. So, you know, we'll see what they do with that. But obviously, that wasn't the only move. That was the only move that was made. Sammy, do you have the move that kind of just to the core?
The Milton Williams, I mean, not to be biased, that kind of took me a little bit by surprise.
You're welcome.
Was not expecting a big free agent signing like that, but I did allude to us, especially with Vrabel, really pursuing defense, trying to reestablish his own defense there. So it made sense. Obviously, I'm super stoked about it. The one that I think is a little low key that a lot of people aren't talking about, but I think it coincides with the fact that we got Milton Williams, was the Harold Landry. And I think having Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, having Landry, who has had two double-digit sack seasons, now with the trenches being locked up and having him free, oh, dude, look out! He might be one of the better defensive players this year, just because he has all that support on the interior.
Yeah, I gotta admit, listen, you Patriots
had a good signing. Got the guy from what was it? The Raiders, the interior lineman.
Spillman. There's another guy. Spillane.
There's another guy that you got too.
Carlton Davis.
Carlton Davis.
That's a bad game.
Hey, you're right.
Number two. He's a number two.
He's not bad.
He's as a number two.
Remember him now. You're gonna be bitching about him. I'm telling you now.
I'm not, because if we got him for the perspective of being a 1, I would be mad. But he's a 2. This is all. That's cake money. That's house money. Cake. I call it cake money. That's cake money, bro.
You see those penalties?
I'm fine with it. We had Brandon Browner. That's what you need, one corner to do that.
True.
Chris Godwin returns to the Bucks. Let's talk about we'll talk about the two big positions that people like to pay. Again, what am I paying to probably go see? Quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs. Probably the ones that are, we play fantasy football. Those are the guys that are getting this fantasy football money, right? Geno Smith was Geno Smith the first big domino? I think that was the first big domino that was like, okay, he reunites with with coach down in Las Vegas now under the command of Tom Brady. It's just crazy time in U.S. sports where Tom Brady, Geno Smith, and Pete Carroll are just aligned with each other under the cloud of Al Davis. It's a crazy time. But that was the big one that kind of kicked off everything. Sam Darnold ends up with the Seahawks. Daniel Jones, we talked about last week, ends up with the Colts, as discussed. And now, like you said, A-Rod, what's his name was looking for a crib. The crib that Justin Fields just took over. Aaron Rodgers looking for a crib, and Justin Fields took over that crib. So, A-Rod, since you are still a Jet fan, apparently, you former quarterback Sam Darnold's on the move. A quarterback that you used to have is still looking for a home, but you got a quarterback in place. Reuniting Garrett Wilson with Justin Fields. What is your initial reaction to that? Do you think it could work?
I think one time in 2013, I tweeted, the Jets just signed David Garrard. That was the tweet. That's how I feel right now.
You think Justin Fields Justin Fields was a top 10 pick?
Listen, man.
That's a good NFL comp, I ain't gonna lie.
Nah, he's more like a.
I'll say this. He was thrown to the wolves and made a name for himself with the Steelers. I'll do that because that man took a beating with the Bears.
Yeah.
I know what his body's like. Hope it's okay. This is what he wants.
What about your favorite
New York media?
We're not gonna talk about the Jets because you hate the Jets. What about your favorite quarterback?
They've done nothing. We've lost so much. You lost so much. How do you think I feel? Okay, you just won a Super Bowl, okay? You sound like Jalen. You sound like Jalen Brown right now. You sound like Jalen Brown.
Where y'all won Super Bowls, right? Because I didn't pay attention to what y'all did, in March. So when y'all was winning Super Bowls, how were y'all marches? Did y'all give up a lot too, or am I just
when we won the Super Bowl? You mean number 2 in the second Super Bowl in the NFL history? What did we give up?
Sammy,
Plumber.
Sammy, what did y'all give up when y'all was winning Super Bowl? Because this is a lot for me, dog. Am I tripping? Because our whole C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Darius Slade, Milton Williams, Josh Sweat.
KK, I think you got to ask Seahawks fans because this looks like a Seahawks situation. That's almost the same thing that happened to them, right?
Oh my! You know what's crazy? Howie Roseman. You know why he drafted Jalen Hurts? Because he said he was so pissed he didn't draft Russell Wilson. And we had the Legion of Boom. They did their thing. They won the Super Bowl, lost the Super Bowl. Holy shit! We about to be the Legion of Boom that just never recovered. Damn, Sammy, you hit it right on the nose, bro. You hit it right on the nose. Like, no, it's to me, it's just.
I think that they drafted very young. I think that you guys drafted very young, and you can bank on that young talent. And I think don't sleep on Howie Roseman. Remember how you were like this, and I'll never forget the Jameson. I never forget that Jameson Williams pick. I saw a defeated man come back to life from the dead. He was like this, and he was like this. Immediately, that bro. Howie Roseman got something in the arsenal waiting, man.
Man, I sure hope so, because this don't feel good, bro. Like, it's literally just watching the team just. Everybody just Isaiah Rodgers.
I would have moved on from C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I'd have moved on from him. I'm sorry.
Why? He's the lead. He was the emotional leader of our defense.
He's fighting with Slayton at the very end, or not Slayton. What the fuck is his name?
Slayton.
Yeah, that's another funny one to me, man. What they paid Slayton is what the Eagles paid.
They only gave him $12 million a year, though.
That's fucking wild, man. But Darius Slayton, what has he ever done? I like this Giants fan like him.
Be healthy.
Hey, health is well.
Be healthy.
That's bum. Anyways, I think the Eagles, they're gonna be okay, man. They have the offense. They went and got a good offensive lineman in that trade too, in Green. So you got that in case the whole Becty thing doesn't fall through.
Good. He was the worst rated right guard in the NFL.
Okay, never mind that. I take back.
He was PFF rated him like 139 out of 135 out of 139. Literally.
Never mind.
We have Jeff Stoutland who knows how to coach him up, and we're banking on that. I think we're banking on a lot of things that, like, I'd much rather be a little bit more secure. Like, let's go try to go get Trey Hendrickson then, or go do something that's like a splash, because again, I gotta trust Howie. You know, Howie has cooked, but this is feeling a lot like Jalen Rieger again. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but it don't feel good. It don't feel good. All right. They did have some, like, I was looking at ESPN. Who's the law? They talk about, like, who are some winners, who are some losers, blase. Before I see what they say, did you have any winners and losers that kind of set out in your mind, Sammy? Patriots winners. Okay. Come on, outside of the Patriots.
That was another one you got. Morgan Moses from us. Another good lineman.
Yeah, he's like 30. He's like 30, 32, 33.
Outside of the Patriots, Sammy. Who comes to mind like, damn, that was a good pickup?
Scrolling through here. I don't see anything that's like that crazy. I mean, I didn't hate that the Lions right after the Carlton Davis went for DJ Reed, so they just kind of swapped one for one.
What about receivers? Because Devontae,
DK Metcalf to Pittsburgh, that was really interesting to me. I mean, they always do it, right? They just got the best. They got freaking stud receivers in Pittsburgh, always. Him and Pickens. I kept seeing the memes though about the first crash out in Pittsburgh between the two is going to be absolute cinema.
I was thinking of something to put. I'm Mr. I like to post viral stuff on Instagram. I was thinking of something. I was like, it's got to be perfect. But I was thinking of, like, what's a good
Step Brothers. Step Brothers.
That's what I should. But I didn't want to do something that I'd already seen, so I wanted to be, like, very, very, like, strategic about it. But no, seriously, like, DK gonna do his little sign language bullshit. Schwarzenegger just gonna punch him in the face. But no, if they get Aaron Rodgers for a year, him, DK, and I mean Najee Harris to the Chargers. A-Rod, you still a believer? I don't know why, but I don't know if that's going to help him a lot. But I mean, we know that the Rams are moving off of Cooper Kupp, but they're acquiring Devontae Adams. I mean, yeah, Devontae Adams,
which we talked about last week.
I mean, we be saying shit. You know what I'm saying? We be saying shit, and then I hear somebody say the same shit 2 days later, 3 days later, or it happens. I'm just saying, bro. We be saying shit, but that's neither here nor there. But Cooper Kupp. I'm thinking like who's available. Cooper Kupp. You want that, Sammy? You want that action in New England?
No.
You white. You white.
Nope.
No.
No Cooper Kupp. Damn, bro.
I read something the other day and I thought it was really, really interesting, and it kind of swayed my opinion after what I just saw that the Patriots had done with their defense. Obviously adding Moses. I think we're going to go line and offense heavy in the draft, which I'm fine with. We have a young quarterback. Let's get some young talent, young fast talent. Let's work on this. And I think with Josh McDaniels, as we talked about last week, Josh McDaniels is going to have a field day being able to do things with Drake May that he wasn't able to do with Mac Jones, because he made Mac Jones, fooled me, made Mac Jones look decent.
Sure did.
And so I can't, again, this is credit to Josh McDaniels, right? He made Mac Jones look decent. So imagine what he's going to make Drake May look like. So
that's why I thought Cooper Kupp to him a slot, not a slot, but a receiver to.
I just don't. But my thing is, I just think Drake May's too young for that. Like I fear the injury risk with Cooper Kupp more than anything. And I think when you have a rookie quarterback, he's gonna, and not to discredit Drake May because he's talented, but he's still young, right? He's probably gonna put Kupp in some situations that are not going to be ideal. So
he throw it, what do they call it, hospital balls?
And Kupp's gonna catch it and then break a collarbone.
He will catch the ball though. He will catch it. A-Rod, what about DeAndre Hopkins to the Ravens? We talked about D-Hop a little bit. He joins another not an old man, Derrick Henry, but they got a pretty good cast around Lamar. We talk about him and Josh Allen. Like, which one of y'all is going to get this shit done so we can get past Patrick Mahomes? How much do you think this helps the Ravens?
I think it's a good get. You get a very, very good veteran wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins. Everybody was trying to link the Tyreek Hill there, and I think that's just a headache you don't need. I think Tyreek, you just respect his talent and let somebody else go take the gamble on him. Get a guy you can pay less than a DeAndre Hopkins that's still very good receiver, and you're going to give him a good quarterback to throw him the ball. Be okay.
And Sammy, you talked about last week the Ravens probably going after like Devontae Adams or something like that. So this kind of fits that mold, right?
Well, that's the problem that I saw with this. I mean, two things here. One, I'm reading here. I would love Tyler Lockett on the Patriots to kind of piggyback off you talking about Cooper Kupp. I would love a Tyler Lockett type guy, right? Because he's deep. Just run as deep as you can. Get open for Drake May. Drake May's got an arm, so work something there. And he's a veteran, right? He's been there, done that. He can teach a lot of the young guys. The other part about it is, man, D-Hop to a team that doesn't know how to run routes, like, this is crazy. Like, it's almost like a waste of talent, in my opinion. Like, you have a team that, if you watch a lot of these wide receivers on the Ravens, particularly because of the talent that they have, it's just straight. That's all they do, because they empty out the backfield so that Lamar Jackson can make a play. And I hope I'm wrong again, but to me, it just, once again, feels like a waste of talent. I would have preferred a Devontae Adams there. I think that would have been much better. But we'll see.
I don't know how recent this news is, but Joey Bosa signed with the Bills.
Yeah, I just saw that.
The $12 billion 1-year deal, $12 billion. If he can stay healthy to replace Von Miller,
it's another big contract, Josh Allen.
And they can monitor his time too, because they probably, they'll win a lot of these games. They don't have to have him play every down, every snap until the playoffs. That could be smart.
That I love free agent. Like, you tell people talk about ratings. People, this is what we love. We love to see chaos and shit. So now before we kind of move on to to different things, because I want to talk about whatever's on your mind right now. What move did the Patriots not make, or the Jets not make, that you're still waiting on, or you're just ready for the draft now, Sammy?
Like I said last week, I wanted an O-line or a receiver, but I like the patience. Vic is over here really upset about the DK Metcalf, and I actually am okay with it because I don't think that's the type of player Vrabel wants in the locker room. I think with all of these young guys on this team, we need a more veteran leader. We don't need, a very obstructive, loud, vocal leader like that yet, right? Because he can bring a lot of negative, toxic energy. And then when I look down the list of a lot of these wide receivers, besides maybe a T. Higgins, but again, like I mentioned before, I wouldn't like T. Higgins as a one. If T. Higgins and we'd have to pay him like a one, and to have him kind of be a mentor, I think that's a little bit steep of a price. So you might as well try and find a stud and then bring a veteran in to teach him the ropes. You know what I mean? And maybe wait a couple of years, because I think this is going to be a long play. I think this is going to be a long play for the Patriots. So I'm looking for offense and some more line help.
Jets fan, is there a move that y'all still feel like you need to make, or are you just ready for the draft?
Give a fuck. Gutted the whole team, bro.
Hey, suck. But they got it. Hey, but they got those guys the fuck out of there, though.
They did. They did. Got the fuck out of there. But then they took, everybody else left too. Bro, I keep going down the rabbit hole on this whole team, and everybody wanted Aaron Rodgers. Like 90% of the team wanted Aaron Rodgers back for one more season. It's like, what was it about the guy that they liked? What was it?
Ticket sale, brother.
The aura.
You want to move some merchandise?
About the players. I don't give a fuck about the tickets. I'm talking about the players.
The aura. Players. Is that what the kids are saying these days? Aura. He's got aura.
Listen, I watched Enigma. They love this dude, bro. Like, yes, he's a little, he's a little rough around the edges, but people will run through a wall for somebody like Aaron Rodgers, because he's one thing that I've learned, especially about think about like your bosses or something at work or something like that. The most important thing to me is are you authentic? Are you truly yourself, or are you just out here putting up a front? Like, if I feel like you're not who you say you are, I'll automatically lose just interest in you, and I don't want to deal with you. To me, what made Tom Brady, for example, so good to his teams, he was just Tom. He was just Tom. Like, everybody was like, you never heard a negative thing about Tom Brady. Everybody was like, yeah, he's not trying to be somebody he's not. I think Aaron Rodgers kind of tapped into that over the last few years. It's just, I don't give a damn. That's why I watched Enigma. I wanted to kind of see where his mind was at. He is just who he is, bro. Like, I want to go do some peyote. I want to go to Darkness Retreat. I don't care if you don't like it or not. I don't care what the media says about me no more. I'm just going to be myself. I think that attracts, that's just going to attract people. Like, if you're yourself and you're not trying to be something you're not, I think it's just easy to want to be around that type of a person. Whether or not they're a little crazy or a little weird, or they don't show up to a mandatory training camp, as long as you're yourself, I think that was the thing. Nick Foles, Carson Wentz, right? I've heard firsthand account from players who were on that team. Carson Wentz was trying to be something. He was just, trying to be the number 2 pick. I'm just trying to be this and that. And they said the reason why it was easy with Nick Foles was just, I don't care about that shit. I'm just going to go here. I just want to play some football and win, we win. And it was easy to gravitate toward somebody because think about it. Carson Wentz came back the next year. All hell broke loose. They said, we need to get a quarterback in here. We got Jalen Hurts. So I think if you're yourself, it's easier to kind of just want to be around somebody who's themselves. That's how I see it.
Get them the fuck on out. And that's what they did.
Yeah, that's what they did.
Adams with it.
And the Steelers, they said Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson are both still in play. Yeah, that's where we're at right now. All right. And then for me, I don't know what to do right now. I just want to stop the bleeding. I feel like that meme Interstellar where he's like watching it. No, the Interstellar meme where he's like, stop, like he's watching himself like in the future or whatever. Like I just want the bleeding to stop. But I'm looking forward to the draft and one good trade. I just want one good trade for like a Trey Hendrickson or something like that. Then I'll feel a little bit better. And Puka Nacua changing his jersey number. So shout out to Puka Nacua. All right, and also Michael Parsons. We're about to do this with Michael Parsons. All right. He's been doing a lot of talking. I don't know how much he really loves being in Dallas, but pay attention to Michael Parsons, not just this year, just over the next 365 days. Pay attention to him. All right. A-Rod. What's on your mind, brother? What? Because there's a lot of shit going on in sports that we could talk about. I didn't want to like just single out anything. I know, like I said, spring training, hockey, soccer, basketball, MVP race. I just want to get what's on your mind that you want to talk about with your boys.
Well, in football, it's not a lot there. It's just a dead body, and we're just keeps bleeding, and we're just sticking tampons in it, hoping to soak up the blood. But it's just same shit every year. So
It's
football
not looking good, bruv. It's not looking good.
Just when I'm excited for baseball to start, I get a million text messages saying, "Oh, Garrett Cole's getting Tommy John surgery." Then to follow, Stanton is possibly going to be out for the year. And then there was another one. Oh, Luis Hill is out for, I think, 3 months. So, I mean, that's a lot right there.
Yeah.
Stanton, I'm not too whatever on Stanton. He pops up like the guy in
the toilet.
he pops up like the guy in Mortal Kombat randomly. Woohoo! He just pops out and goes back. Came alive in the playoffs. I'm not taking away from him, but the Garrett Cole one is going to hurt. So how they replace that? I know we signed Max Fried. We got I can't think of the guy's name. I'm drawing a blank. The guy we got from San Fran. It's how are we gonna get another guy in there that's gonna step up in the interim for a while. So we'll see what they're cooking up. And then
real quick, there's a report. Cashman said that the Yanks need pitching, but very little is available. Are you concerned? Because that seems to be the problem all the time.
Ryan Cashman just needs to go on vacation. Don't speak to the media. Don't get. If there's anything you want to do is piss off Yankee fans. You can piss off Giants fans. You can piss off Jets fans. Don't piss off Yankee fans. There's greatness here, and that guy is just. I don't know. Just a lot of bullshit with that dude. So. I don't know, bro. I'm sick. I'm just babbling now. I'm not feeling great. But lately in New York sports are just outside of the Knicks. They're looking good. Just can't beat Boston or Cleveland. Playoff basketball will be different, I'm hoping. But Yankees, I think it's too soon to call it. Season hasn't even started.
How scared are you of the Red Sox?
How scared am I of the Red Sox? I'm not that scared of them, but I like the signings that they've done. They moved on from dumb players. They went and got good players, and they brought one cheater back to another cheating organization. So hey, go bring that cheater back to play third base or second, wherever they want him. So I'm just kidding. Sneaky. Can always be sneaky.
You know what we haven't done yet? Over under on win total. Yankees are at 89.5 plus 100 according to DraftKings. According to all of them, they're all 89.5. Big over under on that total.
I still hit the over.
Sammy, you seem to disagree. Y'all said the Red Sox are only 3 games back on the over under 86.5. I like that over. I don't know about you. I
I'll
like
take
that
more
over.
than the Yankees one.
Slam that over, baby.
Phillies 91.5. Some books are 90.5. Let's see. But what's on your mind, Sammy?
I was at spring training. I had family in this weekend, so sorry I've been a little away from the social media. But I was at spring training with my uncle down in Fort Myers, down in the fort, JetBlue Park, baby. Vibes are high, man. Vibes are really high. You can see it on a lot of the players. There's just looks like there's just this new rejuvenation, this new sense of purpose. And I think more than anything, the talent, in my opinion, bat wise, A-Rod even mentioned this last year, gave me a lot of credit, tried to pull me out. The bat talent was always there. We just couldn't pitch. Now we added two decent arms. I mean, these bullpen guys we're gonna wait and see. Liam Hendricks fucking sucks. And Aroldis Chapman still has no idea where that pitch is going when he throws it. But as far as what Alex Bregman's bringing, yeah, he's bringing his trash can, but I think he's also bringing just this. He, in my opinion, he was one of the few players that I respected over anybody on the Astros for a long time, but I think it was because I wish he was on the Red Sox. He reminds me of Dustin Pedroia. He's gritty, small guy, good glove, and a very, very scrappy bat. And from what I saw this past weekend, he is going to have a field day at Fenway Park. He pulls everything to that side. He's going to hit off that wall consistently. I think, and then what we've seen from Crochet, he wants, and then the biggest thing about Bregman is he wants to be in Boston. He wants to bring the winning culture back, and I see a purpose with the Red Sox. So again, I'm ready to be hurt again, but after 3-year hiatus from the Red Sox, when I called them, making it to the ALCS before the season started, and then the year after, I was like, I don't think we're going to be able to do it again, and then it's been downhill from there. But I'm back in. The other thing I wanted to mention, I'm going to give myself my own flowers for the PSG today. Once again, this was something that I had alluded to, and I know we talked about it in this podcast extensively when Mbappe left. Victor thought I was crazy. Some of you guys were like, "Oh, you're, get your head out of your ass, whatever." This is what I wanted. I wanted this. This was a situation similar to Myles Garrett. It wasn't working. Mbappe at PSG just wasn't working. And I said, it's time to pull the plug. We have to start fresh. I want players that want to die for the badge. I want players that want to come into Paris and have pride in the team that they're playing for. And I want them to play as a unit, not as a singular entity. And for too long, since Ibrahimovic left, because Ibrahimovic brought that, since he left, the team has all been so, just no identity. One guy was the main focal point, and I didn't like that. Granted, we made a Champions League final in 2020 with Neymar, but obviously that didn't work out because we didn't have a team. We faced Bayern Munich. They had a team, and they kicked us in the teeth. This year, we're getting a lot of respect from people. People hated PSG for the longest time. And I said, watch, when we get rid of these big signings and we start focusing more on our academy and bringing these young players up, these talents, start developing this talent, bring young players in and have an actual team, we're going to be very, very good. We have a good coach in Luis Enrique, who has a really, you could just see the purpose. And I'll say it right now. And I said it last week. I said, regardless if we win or lose this leg against Liverpool, I'm fucking proud of what these kids are doing. I am absolutely proud of how they're playing. 27 shots on goal. Allison was, playing out of his mind last week. And then we come into Anfield, we get the goal, we tie it up, we bring it to PKs, and we solidify it. Whether we move on from here is it doesn't matter. I said we were 2 years out. I might be early, man. I'm not saying we're gonna win, but damn, we're looking better than I thought. I knew this was gonna be a good team. You can tell. You can ask A-Rod. I told him, I was like, this team's gonna be very good. This team's gonna be really, really good. And it looks like we're earlier than expected. These kids, man. Bradley Barcola, 22 years old. Desiree Doué came on and was just cooking people. I was getting text messages from Liverpool fans like, who the hell is this Desiree Doué kid? I'm like, this kid's he's 19 years old, not getting any pub. He's going to play probably in the Euros this year. After what he performed today, even though he came off the bench, this kid's got talent. This kid's got dribbling for fucking days. Ousmane Dembele having an absolute insane season, 27 goals in all competitions. He's up there with like Harry Kane, Mo Salah, all these top level players.
Yeah.
He's going insane. He's 27. Kvara comes in, plays his part. He's a great player, but he comes in. I'm going to play left wing and I'm going to play it very, very well. Hakimi doing well. William Pacho, another signing. I'm sorry if I'm not going to rant the whole time, but William Pacho, center back we got. I was so ecstatic. So ecstatic. And he came today. He played just as well as VVD did. That's how impressed I was with that center back. And I think he's 24, young kid. Joao Neves comes in, hustles his ass off. 22 years old, 22, 23 years old, another young kid, hustling his ass off, playing the midfield, playing for the badge, wanting to win. I don't care what my name is. I don't care where I'm from. I play for PSG. We're going to play for PSG. We're going to play as a team. So, again, I'm really ecstatic. We're a little bit early from what I expected, but this is what I've wanted from PSG for the last 5 years. Everybody said I was crazy, and they make fun of me because we got Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. I never wanted that. True PSG fans didn't want that because we know what comes with that. It's too many egos. As KK, as you know very well, we had this discussion with the African Cup. Too many egos that don't want to play for the badge, don't want to play for the flag. And when that happens, your team underachieves. Even if on paper you are the most talented team, when there's too many egos on 11, there's 11 players. All 11 players have to be in sync for a team to win a Champions League, a World Cup, or an African Cup, or a Copa America, whatever. All 11 players have to be on the same. And I'm just super stoked at what I saw. Whether we'll probably beat either Aston Villa or Brugge. I think it's gonna be Aston Villa. But we got Real Madrid in the semifinal. That's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be cinema.
I agree.
All right, and then for me, the NBA has been on my mind a lot because it's just there's a lot of storylines, obviously, that we do talk about, and a lot of storylines that don't get talked about a lot. Obviously the media, Charles Barkley, wants to talk about like the OKC and Cleveland of the world. And Cleveland just won their 15th game in a row. And I know, kind of talked about a little bit last week, like, how much do you, should Boston fear them? But regardless of how we feel about how they're going to be in a playoff run or anything like that, you still want to give a lot of credit to a Cleveland Cavalier team that they just changed their head coach. That's all they did. Like, changed their head coach, and on the way that worked out was somehow that got Detroit better too. You know what I mean? And you look at the Eastern Conference, and obviously it's not as juicy and exciting as the West, where it's you got Luka and Shea and John Moran, all the Jokic. The East, unfortunately, the first 6 seeds are the only ones that are above 500, and then there's a huge drop off after that. So it doesn't get the same kind of attention, obviously. But what Detroit has done from just overnight from last year to this year is impressive. What Cleveland has done, the consistency that Boston's been able to kind of continue this year. I feel like that game against the Lakers it was kind of one thing about being a championship team. It's so easy to overreact about a December game or a January game. But in the NBA, from March on, that's kind of like, all right, after All-Star break, this is when the shit really counts and really matters. So I think Boston kind of put themselves in a position where, like the other day, for example, Peyton Pritchard and Derek White going for 40 apiece. It's like a nice little shock to the system, like, yeah, these fools are still the champions, right? Still got to take them out. So I know the East is not going to be as fun as the West, but I don't know. You look at the top 6, top 5, Cleveland, Boston, New York, when Brunson gets back. You still got to deal with Giannis and Dame, Detroit, a young, exciting team, and then Indiana. We saw what they were able to do last year when no one expected that to get to a conference final. So I'm really just curious to see how everything kind of seeds out and everything like that, because we might get some good matches, some good, New York. If New York has to see Indiana in the first round, we're going to get another little 90s kind of throwback rivalry maybe. But if Detroit, whoever got to play Detroit in that first round, that's going to be some cinema right there to me, because Detroit kind of gives me that Cincinnati Bengals feel from a few years ago. Like, they're not even supposed to be here, but you never know. So I'm really excited to kind of just see how the East kind of plays out. Obviously, more than likely, Boston might end up, taking it in the East. But I think it's going to be a lot more exciting than people are giving the East credit for. The Sixers, if I'm a fan or not, I don't know, but capture the flag, keep losing. I'm enjoying it. And in the West, the West is actually a lot more boring than we actually like. To me, it's OKC and Shea, Jokic in Denver, and then you have Luka, LeBron, Lakers. But after that, to me it's just Golden State. That's the only other team that's even like that's because like a Memphis Houston first round would be good for TV, only for both of them to probably lose to OKC. So I don't know. We'll see how the seedings happen in the West, but for once, I'm actually a little bit more excited to see kind of how everything plays out in the East, regardless of how the records are in the East. So shout out to Detroit Pistons. Shout out to the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Central Division y'all did your thing this year, and we'll see. We'll see how everything kind of plays out. I already gave my condolences to the Achilles of Tiger Woods. The Eagles figure out Howie Roseman. The Phillies, I have purposely not plugged myself into the Phillies just yet because I'm still trying to I do my sports shit in waves. I can't be all in at the same time on everything. So we'll see. I'll be plugged back in whenever. When's our fantasy draft, A-Rod? Like in a couple weeks. Once I start figuring out who my 3 keepers are going to be, I'll start to plug back into baseball in general. But that's all I got. You got it. What you naysayers got to know, A-Rod?
No one likes us. No one likes us. No one likes us. We don't care. You know how many times I saw that hoodie around Philly?
Under 55.
Everybody had it. Everybody had it.
I like it. All right. Sammy.
In Vrabel, I trust.
I like it. And for me, no matter how bad shit gets, Philadelphia Eagles fans, we are still the Super Bowl champ for the next 11 months. Enjoy it, bro. Enjoy the shit, bro. It's hard. It is really hard to win the Super Bowl. So enjoy it. Keep it moving. A-Rod, I don't know if you heard Sammy try to let us know where they can find us last week, but he did a pretty decent job. He reminded folks where to find us.
All good. You can find us on Twitter, @fair_weather_pod. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok. Search for Fair Weather Podcast. Wherever you subscribe to podcast audio, search for Fair Weather Podcast. You can catch us there. Take it away.
Ronnie James, hang in there, buddy. Hang in there.
Allez Paris.
I'm just excited. I wish I could be excited about y'all, but y'all just suck. So, adios.
Come join, bro.
Hey, free agent, baby. Free agent.